What's up guys, Sirak here, and welcome to the new map Lower Manhattan on Mount Riders. I'm going to be dropping this video relatively quickly, or at least I hope so everyone can get to look at the new spots to stand on and use my overall map breakdown for this. And before it's starting, I do want to say this map looks to be good for dive, but not really. Why? Because the gimmick of the map is really not good for flankers, divers, etc. It essentially, every X amount of time, I'm not completely sure what's the exact amount of time, it scans the map. No, it doesn't matter where you are, you're gonna get scanned even if you're inside a building or whatever, and it reveals the ult percentage and the location of everyone in the map. That includes invisible characters, and of course it includes flankers. That will be Black Panther, Spider-Man, Venom, whatever you're playing that you're trying to play sneakily, stealthy, it's not going to work. Unless you have a really good spot where they're not going to be seeing you even if you're X-rayed. That's why I'm making this video, and this is also why I'm breaking down this map a little bit more in depth so everyone can see, regardless of if you're a dive main or not, you can definitely use this video. It's gonna be useful. So I took the time to make 3 little graphs of the new map, detailing every possible route you can take, or at least the main ones. There's probably more subsections of this, but these are probably the ones we're gonna be taking most of the time. Blue being the main route, yellow being the alt pad 1, green being alt pad 2, and purple, or well, bluish purple, indigo, whatever, being alt pad 3. For most of us, most of the fights are going to be taking place on main. Obviously, this is how it always works in these maps. But in this map specifically, again, all paths are going to be a little bit, I don't know if better to take or not than just straight up trying to hide, considering that again the map getting scanned is going to reveal the location no matter where you're going or no matter what you're doing. So for the first part of the map that we're going to call the entrance to the institute, the main pad is really self-explanatory. You just come out of spawn and you walk forward. There really isn't, it's just like a turn to the right. There's really not a lot to it. Then alt pad 1 you can take through this little cafe, through this little coffee shop in here. And the biggest problem is that there's gonna be 2 windows that you're gonna be able to be looked at through. Like, even if you're taking this to try and be sneaky, if they're waiting in the entrance of the building, which chances are they will, they're going to be able to see you. And then there's my personal favorite route, which is alt 2 and alt 3. You can take all the way to the right from spawn, and you can actually jump on the little building, like scaffolding, I think that's the term. And through there, you can either use the way that the map is set up to just slide your way through the border of this green, like, ceiling, this green roof, and make it to this little destructible section that gives you entrance to the building. Once you're inside the building, depending on which entrance you took, you're gonna be seeing different things. The first thing that you're gonna be looking at is the main entrance, of course, which is going to have 2 main paths if you're playing as a flanker. We have the path to the left, and we have the path to the right. I personally think the path to the right is the best path to take because there's 2 health packs in proximity, really close to where you want to cap point. The first one, if you came through alt pad 2, the green line, you will just be right next to a health pack, just entering. To the right of the entrance, there's a health pack, which is really good. And then a couple steps forwards, there's also going to be another health pack, which is to the left of the main zone that you want to be capping, which is really good. On top of that, you also have access to high ground. Now, the benefit of taking the left side instead of the right side is, even though there's only 1 health pack all the way in the 2nd floor, there is actually a lot more space for you to move around. You can take, there's another destructible section there that you can take if you want to go through. Not really as good as the first one, but still. And there's also high ground again. You can take a longer flank and go all the way to the back line. It's definitely not too bad. Then, once you reach there, the point itself is like this circle that converges all of the different paths into one, meaning that you can very easily jump from high ground in here, which overall, if you're on defense, you're going to be wanting to watch out for the high ground. If you're on offense, you're going to be coming out from different spots, preferably on high ground. But overall, pretty like solid. It's not too bad. Then we get to part 2 of the map with the golden Jeff statue. That's gonna be like my, I guess, like the reference for this one. This one's very interesting. The main pad again, where most of the fights are gonna be happening, converges with every single out pad at some point, meaning that there's multiple spots that you can jump from. And of course, at the very end, there's a circle formation in which you can, is where the final fight will be taking place on this one. Now, every single building is in here can be traveled through in some way. Sadly, the skybox is a little bit too close, so you cannot really stand at too many places in this map. But it does have very good flank routes. If you're coming out from this spawn, if you're on offense, you have 2 choices. Either you go all the way through main and then take alt pad 2, or you can just take a right on the spawn and go all the way to alt pad 1 without being seen. Hopefully, at least. Alt pad 1 I think is probably gonna be the better alt pad in here, considering that not only is it very long and has a lot of possible places to jump from, but even if you start getting chased, since it's so long and it converges with main so easily, as well as the other alt pads, you should have a fairly easy time escaping. And there's a variety of health packs around it as well. One all the way on the furthest building. There's one very close to the spawn as well. Of course, if you're just coming out of spawn, you can also just jump back to spawn. In general, not too bad of an alt pad. Then I feel like the second best option is probably alt pad 2, since it converges into alt pad 3 anyways. So from here you can take different routes. But it's mostly because it's actually very short to get to the enemy backline from here. It's just, you walk from main, you take this little staircase, and then there you are essentially. You can just take a, continue through and you get there. It's really not too hard. Plus, again, since there's so many spots to jump from, it's probably gonna be really hard for the defensive side here to keep track of every single spot that you can be from. But then again, the scanning gimmick is gonna make everything a little bit harder to deal with. And then what I think is probably the worst part of the 3 is section 3, the actual prison, the raft. Mostly because even if you're taking alt pads 1 and 2, they're gonna be able to see you. There's really not that much cover. If they're holding on this bridge here, they're gonna be able to see you. Like, you're not really getting away, at least not from alt pad 2. If they're not looking for alt pad 1, then you can probably make this route work. But then again, if they're holding anywhere near the bridge, which, I mean, if you win the team fight, they probably will be, like, just because it's really close to the end, you're not gonna be able to take those flanks. You can probably take through the building, and you can probably still take alt pad 2 to a degree, considering that it comes from high ground and there's a staircase here. But again, if they're actually watching out for you, I don't think this is a good, and at least in the actual raft, I don't know how, it's very possible to make it work. I also feel like a character like Spider-Man would thrive a lot in here, considering that if you fall into the water, you just die. But for something like Daredevil, Black Panther, again, with these scanning things happening periodically, it's just gonna be really hard. And I mean, that's kind of it, honestly. There's not a lot more to explain other than that. I'm gonna just leave you guys with the weird spots to stand on now.